Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin the funeral service. We ask for those that have a cell phone or pager, if you could turn it to the silent mode. Officiating is Rabbi Levi Notek.
Mizmer leDavid, Adonai ro'i lo yechzor, b'neis deshe yarbitzeini, al mei menuchos yinahaleini, nafshi yeshevev yancheini, v'maglei tzedek leman shemoi. Gam ki yeilech b'geit zalma ves lo yiraro, ki ato imo vodi, shivtecho mishantecho, heimo yinachamuni. Tarech lefonai shulchan neged soireroi, dishan tov Hashem en roishi, koi sirevoyo, ach toiv, v'chesed, yirdefuni kol yemei chayoi, v'shavti beveis adoyenoi, li'oirech yomim. Dear friends, family, we're gathered here this morning to offer tribute, to show honor and give respect to an individual who truly deserves it. Laura Spektor, Laura Bas Binyamin, and Emma of blessed memory. Born in May of 1949 in Kiev, she went to school, went on to high school, to university, and finished in electrical engineering. Laura would go on to work as a bookkeeper in accounting, first in Russia, and then after emigrating to the United States, continuing with this work. In learning about Laura's life, I see a parallel with Jewish history and really the trajectory of the Jewish nation, of Am Yisrael. There are times in our history when things were difficult. Things weren't always easy. There were challenges. But somehow the Jewish nation has that strength, and we keep going forward. Laura raised two wonderful sons, may they live and be well. And for a lot of the time, she was alone. And different people respond in different ways. It takes a character, a strength, to keep going every single day, no matter what life throws at you. And she's an example of that Jewish perseverance. What we say in Yiddish, a Yiddish mame. I looked for a translation. It'll take a book to try to translate what a Yiddish mame really is all about. Because it means so much, but it's a strength of character. It's a being there for her family. Laura passed away just as we were finishing the fast of Esther. In the story of Purim, there was a dark time, and we were very worried and we suffered. And every year, on that day, we fast. And just as that fast concluded, it was observed this past Thursday, as it concluded, she returned her soul, her special neshama, to her Maker on high, to God in heaven. It's not a coincidence that we're escorting Laura on her final passage on the day of Shushan Purim. This is the day of Purim that's celebrated in Jerusalem, the day after Purim, which is considered in Jewish tradition to be a semi-holiday, because it represents that despite the hardships and difficulty, what came after that was something to look back on and really to be proud of. King Solomon tells us that when a baby's born, we celebrate, but we don't really know how that child is going to grow up, what type of life they're going to live, what mark they're going to leave on this world. But on a day of someone's passing, on a day when we come to give honor and say goodbye, as unfortunate and as sad and difficult, painful as it is, we have the opportunity to reflect and see the impact, the effect of what they did in this world. And Laura, as a loving mother and a loving grandmother, she really leaves a legacy to be very proud of. Her children, Alex and Masha, and grandchildren, David and Emma, children Max and Dina, Alexi and Benny, they should all live and be well, long, healthy, good lives. This is really what Jewish tradition says is the way to measure and see the life that one has lived. Its descendants, children and grandchildren that continue and keep going forward. That's the secret to Jewish survival. And that's the story of Purim. Gathering together even little children and saying, this is our future, we're not going to stop. It may be sometimes difficult, we may have questions, we may not understand why, but we continue to move forward. Laura loved poetry, she liked to learn, and she appreciated music. There's a quality that stands out, and that is of lifelong learning. Some people, the moment they finish school, that's the moment they stop learning. And others follow what we say, people of the book. It's our trademark. And they keep learning. They find opportunities, whether it's going to courses or it's making time to learn, whatever the concept and the topic may be, but it's the interest, the desire, the drive to know more, to want to explore, to learn. And not just to do it because you have to, but actually to appreciate, to love it. It expresses a quality of humility where a person says, there's more that I could learn, there's more that I have to know, there's knowledge and information that I want to absorb. And this is something which Laura did a lot and she really appreciated doing. Our sages tell us that although we say goodbye to the physical part of a person, and in a sad day, we have to bid farewell, there's a certain part of the person that never goes away. And that's the soul, the neshama, that spark, sometimes referred to as their spirit, that never ends. It's part of God, and it's eternal. And in fact, we could tap into that connection as it blossoms well beyond their lifetime. And it's through appreciating their values, what they represented, how they lived their life, and trying to learn some lessons about family, continuity, learning, working, not giving up. When we continue, we follow in the ways and the character of Laura Bas Binyamin and Emma, we really continue her life. Her spirit lives on. Her children, grandchildren continue in this very special way, the special neshama, this soul that Laura possesses. Being that today is the day after Purim, it's considered a very special holiday. And because of that, certain prayers that are normally needed for the soul are not needed today. Because the energy of today takes care of a lot of things that prayer normally would have to take care of. The Talmud relates that when a person passes away on a holiday, their soul enters heaven in a peaceful manner. Because in heaven it's a holiday. And there's a celebration that goes on and a greeting that takes place, which is extremely beneficial and appreciated by the neshama. And it expresses the type of soul that they had. It shows us some special, unique quality that this person had, that we're saying goodbye and escorting Laura on the day after Purim, the Jerusalem Purim. Before we continue with some of the Psalms, we're going to hear from family members, friends. Please join me.
The day I met Laura, she asked me why in the world I want to marry Sasha. And it wasn't because she didn't like me, it's because she wanted to make sure that her son is ready to be the man that she thought he needs to be. This is just one example of her brutal honesty and authenticity. She didn't compromise for anybody. She loved her family very much. She taught her son to love music, to love art, to love reading, to continue to learn, to never stop. She had an amazing connection with David and Emma, each very different. I had an amazing connection with her. I could be honest without judgment. I want to read a couple words from David, who's not here. He couldn't attend. He wrote a long letter to Laura in her honor. When I close my eyes and imagine Grandma Laura, I see a white tiger with rainbow stripes. The stripes are like faded and her fur is worn out rug. I don't know about her early life, but I shared a connection with her that I don't have with anyone else. She had an openness and genuine interest in discovering new things that I feel only we shared. We shared artistic soul that I haven't found with anyone else. We would share music, we would share movies. We had deep conversations that rank in most nostalgic moments. I remember her recommending me a movie that nobody else cared to see. Other people would say, you two like weird movies, or depressing movies, or slow movies. We went to see Phantom Thread together in a theater, a movie that no one else would ever even willing to see, but we were both excited to see it. I remember Laura would always give poetic speeches at gatherings that she wrote. She had an artistic spark that she needed to access. We would have deep conversations about things like different movies, which one was better, and what both say about life long before making others watch it. I miss these conversations now, and frankly, I missed them the last few years while I've been living abroad. I will miss her greatly. And then I want to say a few words on behalf of Emma. Babushka Laura loved hard her parents, her husband, her sons, her grandkids, her family. She taught me the importance of love, and I will carry her love throughout my life. She left her soul with each and one of us. And we have to remember that she'll stay with us forever.
И в радости, и в горе я обращаюсь к Лоре. Она поймет, согреет и мудрый даст совет. Таких друзей, как Лора, немногие имеют в настоящем. В словах ошибки нет. Я говорю сегодня о Лоре. Я не верю, что ее больше нет. Вернее, она всегда с нами, она всегда жива в наших сердцах. Я знаю Лору практически всю мою жизнь. Лора – друг, я скажу, во втором поколении. Наши родители были друзьями с детских лет. Лора была человеком необыкновенным. Она была очень умной, она была очень мудрой, она была понимающей. В самом деле, мы в детстве очень мало общались. Настоящая дружба уже пришла здесь, в Америке. То есть из-за разницы в возрасте мы перестали ходить с людьми, с родителями. И здесь, когда мы приехали в Чикаго, я знала, что Алик и Лора здесь, и я их нашла. И это наше воссоединение и соединение, все последующее, что было, я считаю, оно шло от корней. Потому что когда человек становится взрослее, он понимает, что все идет от земли, все идет от корней, все идет от семьи, и все идет от родителей. Мне очень жаль, что она ушла. Можно сказать, самый прекрасный момент ее жизни, когда выросли дети, когда у Эммы предстоят очень интересные времена впереди, когда у Максима двое прекрасных деток. Ей бы жить и наслаждаться жизнью. Но так случилось. И хотя мы видели, как она борется и что она уходит, мы до конца верили, что случится все-таки какое-то чудо. Но оно не случилось. Еще раз, Лора жива, она жива с нами. Она всегда будет нас оберегать, она всегда будет нам подсказывать, куда нам идти и что нам делать. Она очень сахар, она страдала последнее время. И я надеюсь, что теперь она свободна от боли, что она всегда с нами, что она нас оберегает. Ты землю, последние слова я посвятила Лоре. Ты землю покинула, чтобы превратиться в парящем полете в свободную птицу. Лети же по небу без страха и боли, хранимая Богом и нашей любовью. Светлая память. Аминь.
Laura was my sister-in-law, and I met her when she was in the 9th grade. We all went in Kiev in high school, number 79. It was an interesting basis that we kept talking about and laugh about. Laura was a top student in her class. I remember she was pretty and sharp and smart and talented, and she had a few boyfriends. So my brother had a competition, kind of a competition, until finally they start dating. she was fun. She was fun to be around. And I was a child back then, and she always spent time with me. She asked me how was my day, what I was doing. And I started to love her even back then. And then Laura became part of our family, and she was for many, many, many years. She was an exceptional woman. As others were saying, she was very smart. She was talented and bright. She loved music, and she was interested in politics. Laura always had her own opinion about things. She would never go with the flow. And she would explain to me, okay, so this is what's going to happen, and this is, my prediction. And I enjoyed our conversation with her. I remember poems that Laura used to write for our birthdays. She always prepared, and there were poems. And also, Laura used to bring the most thoughtful gifts for everybody, especially for kids. For some reason, she knew what they would be interested in, what they would play, and I still have her gifts that she brought for my grandchildren. Laura suffered a lot in the past few years. Unfortunately, her illness took the best part of her, and we're struggling with her as well. And it was a very sad time. But she was, regardless of that, she was a shining star, a very special woman. And most of all, she loved her family. We talked about it, but her love to her family, kids, grandkids was unconditional. That was the most important things for her in her life. That's what she lived for. And I think that's her biggest accomplishments, because she did raise a wonderful family. I'm gonna address to Laura directly. Hopefully, somewhere she would hear me and all of us. Laurочка, we will always remember you. We loved you, and we will miss you. You will be forever, forever in our hearts.
The following prayer is Psalm 16. I'm going to read it in the original Hebrew, the way King David said his psalm, his prayer to God. Michtam leDavid shomreni el ki chosisi vo chomar tladino yadino yoto tivosi balolecho likdoishim asher beoretz heimo v'adirei kol cheftzivom yirbu atzvoi somacher mohoru valasich niskeyem emidom uvalasas shmei somal svosoi Adinoi minas chelki v'choisi ato toimich geroli. Chavolim noflu li baniimim af nachlos shofroloi. Avoreches adinoi asher yotzoni af leisilusruni chilioisoloi. Shivisi adinoi lenegdi samid kimi mini balemoit. Lochein samach libi vayogel kvoidi. Af besori shkoin lovetach ki loi sazoiv nafshi lishoil loi sitein chasidcha lireis shochas toidieini eilachayim sevas mochais es ponevecho ni'imois bimincho neretzach.
This concludes the funeral here in our chapel. The interment will take place at Sunset Memorial Lawns. For those who will be driving in procession, we'll be lining up in our parking lot. We ask that you have your headlights and hazard lights on while driving in procession and drive as close as safety permits to the vehicle in front of you. At the conclusion of the interment, the family is going to get together at the Pavilion Restaurant, 577 Waukegan Road in Northbrook. They've invited, for those who are going to the cemetery or who are not going to the cemetery, to meet them at the restaurant after the interment. If we can all rise as we escort the casket from the chapel. Once we have left the chapel, we ask everybody to go immediately to their vehicles. Family come this way.